What is going on, everybody? This week, a lot of PC and gaming news on the internet was talking about mostly like Black Friday deals and the fact that Twitter was imploding. But don't worry, we've got some juicy news for you today. We got a new Ryzen 7000 threadripper, which has been spotted, and it is beefy. We got Nvidia saying that 4090 melting is pretty much user error, and new hardware to look at, and more. So let's check it out right here on Robeytech. So years ago, one of the first Threadripper PC builds that were live streamed, we did for a show called Power Builds on Mixer. By the way, can we get an F in the chat for Rip Mixer? RIP, baby. And it was all about the launch of the second gen 2990WX. It was an absolute powerhouse at the time with 32 cores and 64 threads. And we thought that would never be topped. That's not true. We thought it was good. We knew it was going to get topped. But the times, guys, have changed. Thanks to someone spotting a PC listing on Einstein at Home, which is a site that uses your PC's idle time to search for like weak astrophysical singles for like spinning neutron stars. Yeah, it's very specific. We got a sneak peek at a heavy-hitting Threadripper we have not seen in the wild before. It appears that an engineering sample was used in a system that shows 192 processors. That is 96 physical cores and a total of 192 threads in one CPU. That's madness. Now, over the course of roughly a day, it handled 318 tasks before it started timing out to any new requests. Now, we know that the majority of y'all watching probably aren't looking to build a workstation that would warrant the use of a CPU with so many beefy cores, but it's cool to see that AMD is still pushing the boundaries of the technology. Who knows? Maybe we might build another Threadripper system if AMD wants us to. Come on, AMD. Now, it looks like we have another news week where 4090s are a hot topic. Now, Nvidia has actually been pretty silent on the issue, and we actually had some videos that folks had released, like Linus and others who were like, where is Nvidia's response? Or the response from Nvidia was that there was no response. But anyway, they finally put out a statement after they had looked over all the cards that have essentially fried like an egg and came to the conclusion that it's your fault. User error. Now, wait a second, hold on. Before you get your pitchforks and start marching towards Nvidia headquarters, Gamers Nexus released a video recently where Nvidia provided them with a statement because Gamers Nexus went and did all the work and kind of showed them what the problem was. But hey, apparently Nvidia was doing it at the same time and just the day after they came to the same conclusion. But who knows? Currently, Nvidia is aware of 50 cases worldwide of GPUs melting. The issue, they said, was that the power cable wasn't connected all the way. Funny enough, that's the same conclusion that the Gamers Nexus and Steve came to. They included two images and said that the units that melted showed a hard line where it burned the connector that was not at the bottom of the connector. This meant that the cables weren't plugged in all the way since there was a little gap between the base of the connector and the base of the plug. Now, the big question, is this user error? Well, yeah, sure, technically, since it wasn't plugged in all the way, but from like a design perspective, if that many people believe they plugged in their GPU, some even stated they heard a click on the connector, it's not the greatest if this is happening to users, even if it's only like 50 of them. On top of that, Nvidia recommends that you install the cable before installing the GPU in your system to ensure that it's fully connected prior to turning your system on. Which is weird because like there's only one guy I know and he responded to my how to do this correctly before this press release came out, and he said, this is how I always do it, because nobody does that before they basically install their GPU in their PC. And even then, both myself and Steve both said that once you get it done, you still got to cable manage and you still need to ensure it's plugged in even after that. Anyway, nonetheless, I guess apparently it's probably a good idea before doing that, if you're going to use the connector, plug it in beforehand and then go and put it in your PC and then check the plugging again. Okay, continuing though, warranty. Nvidia said that they would be RMAing and replacing any card that had the issue, regardless of whether they were using the Nvidia cable or any third-party cable. This is a whole thing too, because Jay released a video, a lot of people released videos basically saying, hey, we're concerned about the warranty issue, all basically because Tom Hardware said that Nvidia may. So we can breathe a sigh of relief knowing that if it does happen, Nvidia isn't likely to put up a fight and claim that it's your fault for using a third-party product or for not plugging it in all the way. And this whole deal has honestly been super interesting since there were a ton of 4090s out there in the wild. Gamers Nexus and Nvidia said that roughly 125,000 units have been sold, and of that, a total of only 50 worldwide, which is a very small portion of the products out there. So yeah, perhaps some of this was like blown up because the attention that it was got online, and to be honest, Nvidia being silent about it and us not really knowing how many people had this issue didn't help. Even though now we know it's very unlikely to happen, when you get enough reports coming through that your $1,600 plus GPU might go on fire or melt, it's a little worrying. On a much nicer subject, it's no secret that we are fans of Lian Li cases, but just a few days ago, Lian Li put out a video detailing the upcoming V3000 Plus, and this thing is an absolute unit. It is the biggest case they've made so far, which makes sense since there are like 3 configurations of the system. And if you want to see like a beautiful version of this, go check out Liquid House. Like, he did an amazing build in this case. Okay, so there's like the standard configuration, which is like what we're used to, where the GPU sits horizontally and exits out of the back of the case, you know, like a normal PC. But then there's like this rotated setup where essentially you rotate the motherboard 90 degrees counterclockwise and vertically mount the GPU, which that's the version Liquid House did. It looks sick, I'm not gonna lie. And to be honest, it's very akin to what you've seen a little bit in their own Dynamic Evo with the, what do they call it? The horizontal, no, it's like the top mount, I don't know. It's got a special name for the mounting of the GPU. Then there's like this whole entire reason for this case existing, which this is not the first, but the whole thing, it's like a dual PC configuration. What you can do is you can pull out the drive bays at the bottom of the case, and there's room for an entire small form factor PC and a full-size GPU and space for 2 stacked on top of each other power supplies. The front panel even has a button for each system rather than one that would turn both on, which is actually pretty cool. Since it has multiple configurations, the entire motherboard tray is removable, so you can rotate it however you see fit. 45, okay, maybe not however, but point is that you can rotate it however within reason. Just to give you an idea how big this is, you can fit up to 480 millimeters in the front, the top, the bottom side, or bottom front, and up to 420 millimeters above the PSU chamber and 360 millimeters in the rear. It is massive. You know what, honestly, it doesn't look too bad. So that never hurts either. It's very Corsair 1000D. Let me know down in the comments below if you'd love to see us build a dual PC in this and what hardware you would love to see us use. So another product with the plus in the name was announced this week by Elgato, the Stream Deck Plus, not to be confused with the Steam Deck Plus. They didn't just slap on an extra set of buttons and remove buttons like they have with like their own Stream Deck products. They've added a touch bar and 4 endlessly rotating dials, which means you can rotate them forever, just in case you didn't know what endlessly was, but it's pretty cool. Now, while the buttons themselves have the same functionalities as the previous iterations of the device, which I have one sitting right here, the touch bar and dials are where the exciting new changes are. Normally, to switch pages, for instance, on this, you'd like need to take up like 1 or 2 buttons, and you'd have like a previous page and next page, and you basically bound those to a key and then push through them. But see, you don't have to do that anymore. Now though, you can like swipe left or right on the touch bar and cycle through pages and store a ton of pages or control options. Now with each of the 4 dials on the screen, you can slot in 4 different actions to control with the dials. Anything from like your wave mic to light or camera settings, and even a handful of content creation programs, like for instance with Photoshop. Now, tapping on the icon on the screen can do things like turn your lights, your Elgato key lights on and off, or you can even use it to like reset your camera's ISO. Pressing the dials will also act the same as like tapping on the screen, or if you want to, you can stack your dial controls, and you can cycle through a list of settings you want to control. You can stack an unlimited number of controls in each dial stack, so there's a ton of versatility with just 4 dials and 8 buttons. Now, being an Elgato product, you know it won't exactly be cheap at $199, but the Stream Deck lineup has cemented itself in the streaming and content creation communities by giving you a ton of control over the way you control your content, and it is much, much less expensive than like professional solutions, which would cost you way, way more. We are looking forward to trying out our Stream Deck ourselves, and we have our Stream Deck Plus sitting over there, and we will report back, and you will for sure see it on our live streams if you want to check that out. Okay, following up on the Stream Deck is an interesting story about the Steam Deck. One Redditor by the name of AlexBoot23, which thank you very much, Alex, for having a name I can pronounce. AlexBoot23 built a VR setup for the Steam Deck, but without using a VR headset. Wait, what? Like, Robey, how do you play a VR game without a VR headset? Well, I'm glad you asked, person on the internet watching this video. Now, since the room was like too small for traditional VR setup, and the only thing they had was a PC and not really having any VR gear to speak of, what they did have was a Kinect from the Xbox 360. So what they did is they put their Steam Deck on a dock and they connected everything up to the Steam Deck, and then they used Drive for VR to connect the Kinect, so then they could then use the Kinect to do full body tracking. If that makes any sense, I'm sure it does. Now here's the deal, the Kinect is no stranger to being hacked and used for other purposes like 3D scanning and depth cameras, but now after connecting it, see what I did there? Connecting it to their Steam Deck, they were able to play Beat Saber VR. And no, this isn't technically VR, it's more closer to like motion control than anything else on your Steam Deck, but it's still pretty cool to see like old tech used with like new tech. Anyway guys, that is it for the news this week. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Should we build a crazy Threadripper PC, and should we do it inside of that Lian case? And like we should do a Threadripper PC and then like a, okay, I'm getting excited. Let me know what you guys think we should do. Now, what do you guys think about that like ultimate conclusion of how things have kind of come together on the NVIDIA meltdown? Are you interested in the Stream Deck Plus? I'd love to know all that and more down in the comments below. Now, while you're down there, go ahead and tap that like and subscribe button right there. And you know what? Turn on notifications so you don't miss another video like this awesome one you're watching right now. And be sure to check out our live streams right here on youtube.com/Robeytech Live, our Big Brother channel, or over here at twitch.tv/Robeytech every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Now, before you go, you should head over to your favorite social media platform, including Twitter, because it's still there, because we're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Discord, which if you haven't, head over to discord.gg/Robeytech, where you should absolutely follow us because we have an amazing community and who knows, you might meet a friend. Anyway, we're at Robeytech absolutely everywhere. And you know what? You can check out some sweet PC gaming goodness or other fun videos like these super hot TikTok trends we've been doing. Anyway, guys, that is it for us. I hope you enjoyed watching this and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.